Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I'm Dan Shapiro. I'm founder and CEO of Glowforge, and I am here today with Principal Kenneth Kahn, also my cousin Kenny. Kenny, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. Good to see you here, Dan. Hi, I'm Kenny Kahn. I'm a principal here in Castro Valley, which is located in Northern California in the San Francisco Bay Area. Um, Happy to be here, getting to talk with my big cousin. And
That's
yeah,
right. We grew up together and got to visit. I was up in Portland and got to come down to California and see each other every once and again. And it's been incredible to see the lives that you've impacted and the amazing career you've had as an educator. Would you mind just giving a quick background of the arc that you've taken through your educational career? So some of the folks, I know we've got lots of teachers who are going to be joining us, can hear about the story that you followed.
sure, absolutely. While I was an undergrad at UC Santa Cruz, go Slugs, by the way, I worked at Gateway, which was a private K through 8 school, as a daycare, as summer school, summer aftercare provider. But really, that place was the foundation of me beginning my kind of journey into education. While at UC Santa Cruz, I participated in a creative writing in the schools program at Scotts Valley High School, enrolled in the master's program that I earned my teacher credential through and got to student teach at Pajaro Valley Middle School or Watsonville High School. But then I made the journey back home. I went back to the East Bay, where I taught English. I was a football coach at El Cerrito High School. Shout out to the Gauchos. And found my way moving into a role as a teacher on special assignment. I worked as a school climate coordinator and restorative justice coordinator, and found that ultimately really getting to work with students and our faculty and staff in a leadership role. I said, I think I'll put my hat in. I'll apply to the Principal Leadership Institute at UC Berkeley. Was admitted and was part of cohort 16. Had an amazing transformational experience there. Uh, After 10 years of teaching, coaching, and working at El Cerrito, my alma mater, I made the journey out to Danville, where I worked at Monte Vista High School as a vice principal. Learned so much in that role and experience, and just again, really moved by every school community I've been a part of. And then the last 3 years, I've been here at Redwood, which hosts the secondary alternative ed programs of Castro Valley Unified School District. So we have our credit recovery continuation program for our high school students. We have our Counseling Enriched classroom that's partnered with Seneca Family of Agencies that has a partnered therapy component to it. We have our independent study and our intensive intervention for students who will come on the long term, once a week in person with our teacher program. We also have our Castro Valley Virtual Academy, which partners with Imagine Edgenuity, but we also have some amazing classroom instructors there to provide added support. And then we also have our Roy Johnson Adult Transition Program that supports our 18 to 22-year-old students in both the mild to moderate and moderate to severe, as they are moving toward their own independence and, again, living in the real world, so to speak. So, yeah.
That's incredible. And your school covers such a wide range of and helps such a wide range of students and learners. I, as a principal, you're thinking about building a school, creating investments, and building out a community that serves all of these different needs. How do you think about integrating those? How do you think about your job serving such diverse constituencies?
Well, you can't see the plates that are spinning behind me. And I share that because I have an amazing group of educational professionals that really look at each and every one of our students. And again, it's by student, by need. And it's really about differentiating and providing instructional learning opportunities and exercises and experiences that, again, will help them to feel confident. Many students in previous comprehensive programs have not felt the same level of success that they will have here. And so it is about school connectedness and building school community. And it is about building rapport with the faculty and staff or other students who may have had the similar experience or different experiences for that matter. But I will always share that programs are people. And I cannot, say that as a principal, my job is to help support the faculty and staff to help support our students. And so, with great pride and also with great humility, I'll share I've learned a lot, and hopefully I've helped support them in that process too.
So last time I saw you at the school, we got to walk through the grounds. It's beautiful,
Yeah.
and it was really amazing that it does feel like a community. So we're both dads as well as our day jobs,
Sure.
and so I get to see my kids experience at the local public school, and I have to say it actually felt like a even a more tight knit community than I remember in my school experience, which is wild because it covers such a broad range of student and learning experiences. So I will say walking through those I was gonna say hallway, but it was kind of outside and ducking into the classrooms, like everybody knows who you are, and there was this warmth that was really palatable and palpable, and and you've got to be doing something right to bring that together. When you think about the programs, when you think about the way the school is serving its staff and its students, is there a philosophy? I think we heard a little bit of it. Is there a philosophy that ties it together?
It's hard to get everyone to sip the Kool-Aid, so to speak. But what I will share is students who come to Redwood by and large, and I'm not talking about necessarily the adult transition program, but those who need something more catered to their particular hobbies, interests, current state of life. I think COVID taught us a lot of things about what education looks like and feels like for everyone. The current seniors that are graduating this very year, they were the same eighth graders that the world essentially closed on them.
Oh,
And they didn't get to set foot on campus that freshman year and learn how to high school, so to speak, right? Learn to where the closest bathroom is, or where's the dining hall, or how do I get involved in some extra co-curricular programming. They were learning about how to log into different Zoom meetings and get certain assignments in Google Classroom and try to log into those additional tutoring hours where they could get some more perhaps narrowed support by some of those instructors. But again, not all 2,800 that start at Castro Valley, will end up getting, or feeling that level of high level of academic success in school community. And so in many ways, some of the students who have come here also needed, I would argue, a really strong component of health and wellness. We brought upon my arrival with some school grants, a full-time social worker, a school social worker,
hmm.
in partnership with our academic counselor. We were also to partner with our local Eden area counseling group and bring in some interns. And so I think there's the combination of health and wellness that then also supports teachers with trauma-informed practices, that also leads to then building those relationships, building that trust, building that cultural capital, and then say, hey, let's talk about content. Let's get into the sciences. Let's talk a little bit of math. Let's get into the writing for Mechanics Monday. Shout out Mr. Wheeler.
and and I got to imagine that in a school with so many challenges, with such diverse needs from the students that you're serving, it'd be really easy to say, what on earth do you need with a laser? Like, what possible relevance could that have to the challenges that you're facing? But you found some really interesting answers to that. What kind of roles does your Glowforge play in your school and in your community?
So I'm going to actually take off my principal hat and put back on my former high school student athlete and former football coach hat. Upon the end of a season, when you were provided some type of certificate or some type of trophy or plaque, it was always those personal things that had maybe the sign or symbol or the nomenclature of whatever that program was, but then your name or something about you spoke to it or was incorporated into that.
Hmm.
And I always thought about how does perhaps creating that, maybe it's the incentivized or award or just again the personal touches, right? That's how you begin to feel like you're connected into our school. So the short of it is, I was a bit apprehensive at first. I had this amazing Glowforge Pro in my office in the box, and I needed help getting it set up. And humbly, even my IT rep was starting to have some questions, and I needed an additional, I needed more support than perhaps I was able to get just by asking them. So who did I call? I think I actually called you, and you coincidentally,
Cousin Dan tech support.
right,
Yes.
cousin and tech support. Not everybody could use that. I'm not going to tell his cell phone number over the air. But you happened to have been in town, and you were like, "Hey, why don't I come over and visit with you?" And that's really where we had already got it open. We had already got it connected to the Wi-Fi, And then you were like, hey, Kenny, let's just make a keychain. And I was like, a keychain? And you were just so happy to guide me through the beginnings of that. And so I think what ended up happening is that it started manifesting. Okay, well, we have certain signs, doors, and plaques of faculty and staff that are switching areas and spaces, but let's make that a welcoming space so that people know where they're going, right? I think, as I mentioned, when students learn how to high school, part of it is being able to walk into a space and know where you're going. That's the first step to self advocacy. I have an idea and a clear direction of where I'm going. And so, with the names, the placards, and things of that nature, I think that was the first step to it all. Um, I'll then go as far as to say, then we started making some designs of our school mascot, right? That branding, right? The panther. And so we have different prints of panthers from about every which way that we've provided. And I'll tell you, before, the logo was actually just like a redwood tree, silhouette. And so
It's a little less exciting.
it's a little less exciting. Faculty and staff were all in agreement. We really want to bring back the animal, the character, the spirit of it all. So bringing back the panther was really exciting. And so we've been tinkering with a variety of different logos, but it's all been in good fun. And we presented, and sometimes we get the oohs and ahs, and other times we'll leave it in the staff lounge, and all of a sudden find it, hanging in a teacher's classroom. And again, it's about that kind of incentivized, like, well, you might not have loved it then, but now we know you love it. Like, you love it now. It's setting in. I'll also share that we do small kind of incentivized, like student of the hex, which is kind of somewhat student of the month. We have 6-week grading cycles, and so students will get these kind of grab bag of awards that might have a fidget spinner or a little football or something like that. But one of the really cool things that we give is like a heart or a little placard that also has the redwood paw, and it says it on there, and that's laser inscribed with the Glowforge. It's that personal touch. And even today at school dismissal, it touches your heart, or touched mine, watching kids walk out. But a kid just walking out with his backpack, and on the back of it was a little stuffed heart that had the redwood symbol on it. And I was like, that's why we do it, right? Because that was a proud moment for them, and it's gonna live on for much longer than just that day or for that moment.
That's incredible. And I have to tell you, I showed up to help a little bit. You were printing when I got there, but I showed up to help a little bit with the setup. But you helped me and you helped us a lot, because I went back to Glowforge and I said, okay, not everybody has Cousin Dan on speed dial for tech support, and we actually put together a team to help with folks in education who are onboarding with their first and second and third printer. And so now when somebody actually goes and brings a Glowforge into their school district and into their school, they actually have a dedicated rep who can help. They have a team behind them that can help with that setup. So that really helped me understand and helped us understand what some of those challenges were and what some of those opportunities were for us to better serve the educational community. And you don't just use it at school, right? Because you got a little one at home.
Well, I have two, right? I have Theo and Harris, and right now they love the idea that Dad has these magic machines that
I
build
made a
out,
little Glowforge. I know you've got two little
right?
kids at home.
So right now they're all about just like life, living things. My youngest loves Gowers, bovine, muskox. And so they're big on the Kratz creatures and the creature powers, and so I'll build them a spinning disc of their creature power with a muskox on it, or my other son's really into hippos and things of that nature, or most recently beetles. So we've been doing different builds of beetles and things of that nature, and so that's been a lot of fun. And so my oldest started getting into actually reading physical books and turning of page and returning back.
Retro.
So we went old school and we made a bookmark, right? That was personalized, that had some messages of just reassurance and things of that nature. So they will ask me, hey, can we build a model plane? Well, give me what you're looking for. What type? Are we talking about the $3 one that we could buy at the toy store? Oh no, Dad, we have a whole different idea. And I'm like, well, we'll talk about the weights and measures later, but give me some scale. They'll draw it out. I'll try to mimic it as much as possible. We'll do a build, and then we'll take it out to the park to see if it actually flies. But I think part of that is just their own imagination. There's their own engineering of it, and again, they're being given access to an incredible resource that so many young minds, if able to tap into, there's endless possibility of what you can do with the Glowforge.
You know, one of the things that I always thought about for my kids is it wasn't that I wanted them to learn like computer programming to be a computer programmer or engineering to be an engineer, but with these tools that they have available, like those tools should belong to them.
Right.
That ability to create things, like that's their birthright, to
Yeah.
be able to use their hands and use the tools in front of them to bring things into the world. And so that idea that you can sit down, you can dream something up and bring it to life, it's not just a STEM thing.
No.
It's actually just a part of like the process of creation, whether it's knowing that they can write, that they can paint, that they can draw, that they can program, that they can build things. I love being able to give kids the tools that they can use to impact the world. Because, man, if I think about when my kids are the most frustrated, it's when they don't know how to impact the world, right? Like, when do kids get the most frustrated? It's when they're little and they can't speak and they're like, I know what I want and I don't know how to say it. And then when they're small and they're like, nobody's listening to me and I don't have any way to make myself, like, that's when the food gets thrown against the wall. And I think like that's still inside us.
Sure.
And when we feel like we have ways to express ourselves and to impact the world, when we have those tools that let us do that, it's so empowering. And it teaches them the message of how they can behave as an adult in terms of like being able to dream things up and change the world in ways that are meaningful.
Yeah.
So it's not just, it's actually, a lot of people think about Glowforge and they think about STEM, but a lot of the uses you just talked about aren't STEM at all. They're really about impacting the culture and community and the environment, outside of teaching, it sounds like. Is that right?
Absolutely. And I'll also share, we are utilizing it with classes like our graphic design who are creating awesome images and then want to see if they can take something that's 2 or 3 dimensional and put it into, a build on the Glowforge and see how can they twist, turn and tweak it enough. And I think like anything, even with whether it's our youngest or our oldest students, the ability to not only think creatively and take risks and potentially not get it right the first time, that's all right. Like that's the best possible learning. And so yeah, getting to see them with that level of creativity and excitement and wanting to create and build and constantly reimagine and improve those builds or those designs, I think that's why Glowforge is such a helpful tool for us here at Redwood. Now I'll also share on a personal level, it's great that I get to tinker with things and I might inscribe on a rock, or most recently, I tried for a friend's birthday, putting for their 40th celebration, their happy B day on a brioche bun because they were barbecuing. Those types of personal touches go so far. Most recently, my oldest son is playing baseball, and he's coming to the end of his season, and so tomorrow he'll play his last baseball game, and at the end of the game, they'll have a celebration. So what did we do? And I'll show you one that I didn't do perfect on, that I had to do a kind of a beta, right? Make my mistakes, but just to be able to have that baseball bat, that
Oh,
personal
you texted
touch,
me those pictures. Those are
right?
amazing.
And it goes the mile, it goes the extra mile, right? Most kids who get a little trophy don't know what to do with that, but they can hold on to this. It's tactile. They can smell that. It's real, and it feels like this is a far more sentimental gift that I can look back at and say this was a wonderful keepsake. And again, a time of my life that meant so much to me as I was developing, not just as a young athlete, but as a member of this broader community. And so, yeah, Glowforge did that for us.
That's incredible. Yeah, you've got a Spark at home for the family. I think you were one of our Spark beta testers, right? And then you've got the Pro at school for the school community. Is there a difference? Like, do you want to let folks know the difference between the two, like the personal experience versus the one that's education designed?
Sure. I mean, I think bigger and smaller packages, right? Means with our Glowforge Pro, I'm able to do multiple builds a lot quicker, happening at a larger rapid rate. And so, if I need 25 paws, I can get that done in about maybe an hour or so. If I were to try to do the same thing, perhaps in our Spark, it might take a little bit longer. So, I'm going to give it a little bit
Like 10
more.
times longer. Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a personalized thing. Maybe I don't want 25. Maybe I just want 2 or 3. And again, giving it the personalized touch. I like the idea that I don't necessarily need to have something that on that large of a scale. I like the idea of the Spark being able to provide something again personalized, and also still specific to what maybe my family wants to do. So that's where my sons and I get to be on, on the kitchen table, drawing out something, planning something. We can go set it up, get outside for a little bit, come back, and before you know it, we have something ripe and ready to go. I had assisted a friend of mine that I work with, who works in the district office, with wanting to cut out the resin pieces and components of those dice that I think I sent a picture to you, and they're going to film with different colored rocks and dust and some sugar skulls and things of that nature. And that was able to happen quickly, with the Pro, but that might have not been something I wanted to spend my time with on the Spark on the home front. The Spark
So,
is such a great tool, though. I'm really enjoying tinkering with that one.
oh, that's fantastic. Sandy is in K through 8 grade school, and she's asking about ideas for how to use a Glowforge Pro there. Now, I know you told me about some of the screen printing. You've got older kids, but then K through 8 for the most part. But I know you've done some screen printing. What are some of the other classroom activities that you've seen folks use the Glowforge for?
So, as mentioned, screen printing was the start so that we could get maybe some T-shirts made, and that was fun because it was just literally taking a large chunk of how to actually get the cleanest, sharpest lines done. Glowforge does that, and again, it looks like a professional print on a T-shirt. Also, we've been doing most recently going over store bought dollar store frames, but then being able to, with the laser, go over and give some personal designs before we put a piece of artwork under it. And so that's been a lot of fun. And so on a seasonal level, being able to do that. But also, when we first started talking about using the Glowforge Pro, you told me, hey, tinker with not just what you can buy with Glowforge in terms of the different materials. Take out some cardstock, right? Take out a thin sheet of paper and try to dabble a little bit with the settings to see what can or won't happen. You might need to weigh down certain things, and so maybe that's also it. Is maybe creating maybe like a picture book where students are generating and drawing things, and then you can create multiple cutouts of those same things. As a former creative writer, or not former, as a creative writing major, I would have loved to have had something like this to make some children's storybooks at a at a quick and inexpensive way. And I don't want to put our other cousin out of business who makes amazing children's children's illustration books.
We do have cool cousins. Caldecott winning children's book illustrator. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's building tree houses right now. That's another design that my sons are excited about, is that we want to make some personalized cuts and tree houses for that they can then color and decorate and then hang outside, for some bird feeders of sorts. So I think there's a lot of opportunity. Even if you take, similar to the bat, if you were to get some blank pencils and do some laser inscribed things that maybe had a student's name on it when they walked in and sat at their desk on that first day of school. Whoa, my name's on this pencil in this classroom. That's already helping to build a sense of belonging, and that, hey, we were waiting for you.
That's amazing. And you know what? Something we did since I dropped by Redwood High School that our team put together. Oh, affirmations on pencils. That is fantastic. We actually worked with some educators to put together curriculum aligned projects that are ready to go on the Glowforge. I bet we can put it in chat. I think it's at glowforge.com/educator/lessons. And so you can actually find lessons, you can find curriculum impact, you can find projects that are, there we go, that are ready to go, so that you can put those, Sandy, so that you can put those into your school as projects that are ready out of the gate. And it's one of the really neat things that to me is so exciting to see, is that when a Glowforge shows up in a school, it might show up for one reason. It might show up because it's a part of STEM curriculum, or the robotics class got it, or something like that. The Glowforge at my kids' high school lives in the robotics lab. But then other people start coming in. The band kids start bringing it in to engrave the boards that they use in the marching band. And then the cheerleaders come in and they start making things that they're going to sell as part of their fundraiser. And the community at large gets to see that, the ability to create things, it's a skill that you learn, but it's also a resource that you can draw on as a community that makes that community stronger and more vibrant and can help pull it together.
Absolutely.
I think Yeah, and I think we've seen that along the way at these everybody who gets these finds something to do that just sort of moves outside. Like it enhances the academic experience, but it moves outside of that as well. The affirmations on pencils is really neat. It turns out it's really fast and easy to crank out a lot of pencils. It's like one of the
Sure.
easiest things to do. You just dump all the text in there, line up all the pencils, how-tos online, but it doesn't take much, and off you go. And you can I don't know. When I first got my hands on a 3D printer, I was so excited for what that could do for my kids and my family, and then it was all like lumpy plastic slowly. And it would take, if you were lucky, you might be able to get one kid's printout during a school session
Right.
because it's really pokey. And and then in order to do that, you first have to learn to use CAD software and 3D modeling. And it's a great skill to have, but it's not quite so practical. Whereas like we have kindergartners who will walk into class, draw whatever it is that they're going to create, like a puppet. Teacher will put 25 of them in the Glowforge, and at the end of class, they're done. Like it's that quick and it's that easy. The camera on board can scan, so you've got technology that works for kids who can't necessarily. I won't say can't use mouse and keyboard because some of those kindergartners can, and probably better than some of the grown-ups. But really scales across that whole learning experience from crayons all the way up through CAD software, and it's pretty neat to see. I like the local University of Washington graduate school has a dozen of them in one of their postgraduate labs, and the kindergarten has one where the kids are making puppets. It kind of works across that entire age range. So if you're we're just about out of time. If there was one project you were gonna recommend to anybody who has access to a Glowforge, what's the one thing that everybody should try with their laser? Maybe school, maybe personal. What would you recommend?
So I'm gonna go with the creative writing lens of it in an English language arts class. I'm gonna create a couple of different sections and squares, and then I'm gonna tap into the magic canvas. And part of the reason why I share that is, we're still trying to learn about what AI does and what's its purpose. But when you're thinking creatively, and you might not have in that moment all the time to draw and orchestrate what you want on there, you could at least get a storyboard started that once you have that visual and you already have it printed, you could have, again, the whole group just start all of a sudden get the work going, right? When it looks real and it feels like you've already built something out of it, that's, I feel like, where the creativity will just launch. So yeah, take advantage of it. The
As
Glowforge
somebody who
do it all.
cannot draw, Magic Canvas is my favorite thing too, because finally I can bring my ideas to life. I've got, I don't have like a big show and tell, but I had the draft of a Mother's Day card that I did where type in, I think I said mom, daughter, and son, teenagers, and happy Mother's Day. And it created that. And by the way, that takes about 3 minutes to print on a Glowforge Pro. And then for Passover, our family had a Passover Seder and used Magic Canvas to make a Seder plate where each one of those different designs is engraved on slate. And this was, I think, $10 on Amazon to get this piece of slate and then engrave all this. And I never could have done this before. Couldn't have designed it, couldn't have made it, but engraving stone, cutting paper, and being able to do it all because this moment of inspiration clicks, like that's something I want for everybody. So, Kenny, thank you so much for taking the time with me today. I really appreciate it. It's amazing to hear what you're doing at Redwood Alternative High School.
Hey, thank you for the opportunity. Much love to you, and thank you all who dialed in to listen and watch this great conversation among two great people.
All right. Best to the family and take care. Thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate it so much. And good luck with your Glowforge. Take care.
Have a great Friday. Take care.